All right, what's going on, guys? It's me, David John, back to do another podcast on the 4545 podcast. Tonight, it'll just be me, no Tallulah. He's down in South Carolina on spring break, and the Wi Fi at the hotel that he's staying at isn't the best. So we definitely had technical difficulties when we're trying to record about the North London derby and all of the Premier League matches that took place this past weekend. But again, the Wi-Fi wasn't the best, so we had to scrap that. So I'm here today to cover the European football that occurred this past week. So I'll be talking about Real Madrid versus Atalanta, Chelsea versus Atletico Madrid, and then the UEFA Europa League matchup between Milan and Man United. So without further ado, let's jump into the first match that occurred on Tuesday night between Real Madrid and Atalanta. All right, so this past Tuesday, Real Madrid played Atalanta in a game that finished 3-1 to Real Madrid, and Real Madrid advanced into the quarterfinals 4-1 on aggregate. So this game was pretty well balanced. I mean, possession was pretty much even. The shots on target were pretty much even, but Real Madrid were the better side. A couple notes about that game. Benzema scored off a goalkeeping error. So there's been a lot of controversy behind the Sportiolo error that led to Real Madrid's first goal on the night. People were talking about Darun and how he should have checked back to his keeper and able to become an option for him. And there's a lot of people who said that Sportiolo, the Atalanta keeper, should have played it out wide to his left center back. So I think he should have played it out to his left center back because his left center back was a free man. However, I do understand the argument of Darun and checking to his keeper to make himself an option because the pass out wide would not be an easy pass to make. There were a lot of good performances on the night, notably Karim Benzema, Vinicius Jr., and Luka Modric, Sergio Ramos as well. Vinicius played really well, but his biggest issue is just finishing. In the Atalanta game, he made a wonderful drive up the field and earned himself a penalty. Vinicius Jr. earned himself a penalty, but the penalty was debatable because a lot of people don't know whether the foul occurred outside the box or inside the box. In my opinion, I think it's not a penalty. I mean, if we use the same logic that we do with goal line technology, the ball's not over the whole line, then it's not a goal. And the trip or the foul on Vinicius was just on the line, so I don't think it should have been a penalty. I think it should have been a free kick. Sergio Ramos also had a wonderful game at the back. He was as solid as a rock, dictating, being a leader that he is, and he even grabbed himself another goal. And I found this crazy stat on Twitter the other day that Sergio Ramos now has more Champions League goals than R9, David Villa, and Zinedine Zidane. All right, so now on to Atalanta. So Atalanta, they have one of the best attacks in Serie A. They score a lot of goals for fun, but they were suppressed against Real Madrid. That's because they had a lot of chances, but they just weren't quality enough. Luis Muriel was their best player. He came on as a sub, and he scored a free kick, a wonderful free kick. And I believe there was about 5 minutes left in the game when he scored the free kick. And right after they scored, Real Madrid charged down the field and scored and put the game to bed. There was a lack of concentration to Atalanta when they scored, and I feel like being in that position, you should be more focused, more switched on than ever, because you have to go and get another goal. So that should put belief in them to go get another goal. But again, that lack of concentration killed them, and Real Madrid were able to use that to their advantage, go up the field, put the game to bed, and move on 4-1 on aggregate. On to the second match of the podcast. So this match was played between Chelsea and Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid won 2-0 on the night and 3-0 on aggregate. It was a good performance from Chelsea. I liked what I saw. One of the big talks of the game was Giroud starting on the bench, and this was debatable because of that ridiculous bicycle kick that he scored on back at the Wanda. So he started on the bench, and Timo Werner got the start over him. And Werner, with his form, there was a lot of question around it. But I think it was reasonable since this is a round of 16 match in the Champions League. All right, so Kai Havertz had a really good game. I think he's starting to find his feet a little bit at Chelsea under Tuchel. He had a really good opening 15-20 minutes. He played a lot of positive passes forward. He got up forward, tried to create chances for the team. And Chelsea's first goal came in the 34th minute from Hakim Ziyech. It was a great counterattack. So I believe it was off a set piece or a cross, where Havertz retrieved the ball and he drove up the field. Werner was on his left. He played in Werner. Werner saw Ziyech making a run into the box, played the low cross to him, and Ziyech put it away. Great counterattack from Chelsea. I really like the goal. And yeah, they dominated the ball in the first half. They really had Atletico Madrid open because of the width of the formation they played. So Chelsea were set up in a 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-3, give or take. And Hakim Ziyech and Kai Havertz were very crucial because they were kind of like attacking mids in a sense, but also wingers. So when they would defend, they would tuck in really tight to pressure Atletico Madrid and win the ball. And when they were in possession, they would spring out wide, but not too wide. For example, Hakim Ziyech, he wouldn't go too wide because Azpilicueta would have to push up into the midfield in order to let Reece James push up into that winger role to supply crosses. Chelsea had a lot of good chances. Kovacic just had a chance at a strikeout from distance, but it was just wide of the goal. Werner had a chance, but it was an easy save for Oblak. Rudiger had a chance. He took a strike from distance. It was a good strike, especially for a defender, not too far off the target. Ziyech had another chance to get a brace, but Oblak pulled out a wonderful stop. Callum Hudson-Odoi also had a chance when he came on as a sub, but unfortunately it was an easy stop for Oblak, but he really should have put the game to bed. Another talking point of this game was Christian Pulisic, who did not start but came in as a sub. When he came in, he was a little shaky at first, but he grew into the game a little bit. He got about 15 minutes of playing time on the night, and for the second goal of the night, he did make a good run from the Chelsea half into the Atletico Madrid half. Supplied the ball to Emerson, and Emerson tucked it away to put the tie to bed. Now for Atletico Madrid. Diego Simeone had Atletico Madrid in a 4-4-2 lineup, but as the game progressed, you can tell that this 4-4-2 shaped into a 4-2-3-1 with Suarez being the lone striker and João Felix playing behind him in that attacking mid role. Yeah, it was very poor Atletico Madrid side, if I must say so myself. In the first open, like 10 minutes, they did press Chelsea a lot and force some turnovers. But other than that, Chelsea outplayed them on the night. Carrasco did go down in the 26th minute in the penalty box, and I think it could have been a foul. Azpilicueta, he did grab onto Carrasco, and some people said that Carrasco went down easy, but Azpilicueta, it wasn't necessary for him to make contact with Carrasco because Edouard Mendy was going to get the ball. So I think it was an off the ball foul, but there was no penalty, so it is what it is now. Now, the big talking point for Atletico Madrid was João Felix and how he was kept quiet by N'Golo Kante the entire night. Atletico Madrid played through João Felix, and they depend on him to create. But with the work rate of Kante and the job that he did on the night, he was able to stop that. I feel like one of the reasons why João Felix was stopped by Kante so many times during the game was because of that switch in formation from the 4-4-2 to the 4-2-3-1. So in the 4-2-3-1, João Felix was kind of alone in the middle of the park, and that attacking mid position is where Kante was in Chelsea's 3-4-2-1. So they would interclash all the time. So João Felix tried everything. I mean, he tried dropping in deeper to receive the ball, but again, with Kante's work rate, he was able to stop that, and he really kept João Felix quiet on the night. Now, with this 4-2-3-1 that Atletico switched to, I feel like if they just stuck with their 4-4-2 formation and João Felix played with Suarez up top, I think João Felix would have been able to create more. Since he's not in Kante's way, I don't think Kante would drop too deep just to mark him. But yeah, throughout the whole night, Atletico Madrid struggled. I mean, they played like 3 formations. After Kieran Trippier came out, I'm not sure. I couldn't make out the formation they played of 3-4-3 or a 4-3-3 or maybe even a 5 at the back. Another talking point in this game was the savage red card that he got for elbowing Antonio Rudiger in the chest. I feel like that made it harder for Atletico to get into the game. Felix had 2 chances to score, and one of those chances forced a really good save out of Edward Mendy from point blank range. And yeah, other than that, Atletico Madrid, they didn't create much. They're really poor on the night. They were outclassed by Chelsea. As for Chelsea, I think they're growing more into this competition. All right, now to the final match on this podcast, and this is a Europa League fixture between Milan and Man United. So this match ended 1-0 with Man United winning at the San Siro and moving on 2-1 on aggregate. So in this game, Zlatan started on the bench. So I feel like that was a big topic or a big debate because I feel like had he started the game, I think Milan would have had a good chance to win the game. Milan really dominated in tight spaces. From these tight spaces, they were able to knock the ball around Man United, and from that progress on to create chances in much bigger space of the field, or spaces of the field, I should say. It was a good Milan side. My player of the match for Milan was Kessie. I mean, he was everywhere. He was working hard. He had good touches on the ball, created space. But unfortunately, it just wasn't Milan's night. Hakan, I'm not going to say his last name because I'll butcher it, but Hakan, he had a chance where he missed a volley right in front of goal. Krunic had a chance where he missed a volley. He should have put it in, gave Milan a lead into the halftime break. From a Man United perspective, this game, it was an okay performance. I won't say it's bad, but I won't say it was too great. Luke Shaw looked really good getting into advanced positions. I feel like now that he's like fully recovered from his injuries, he's been able to play like his old self again. He's been driving up the field lately, joining the attack, trying to get crosses in. So I think he played really well. There was an incident where Daniel James was taken down by Tomori in the box. I think it could have been a foul. I don't think Tomori got the ball, and the ref thought Tomori got the ball, then the player, so he didn't call the foul. But I think otherwise, I think it could have been a penalty that could have given us a 1-0 lead early. Well, not early, but about like 25 minutes into the match. Yeah, United were on the front foot the whole game. They applied a lot of pressure, and that pressure forced Milan back. Bruno Fernandes also looked really tired and just doesn't look like his creative self. He clearly needs a rest, but United doesn't have a solid backup at the moment. I mean, Van de Beek is an option, but he just came back from injury, and do you really want to risk playing 90 minutes of Van de Beek? Paul Pogba was a difference maker in the game. He came in and got a goal, I think, 30 minutes of coming onto the pitch. So he made an instant impact. He dominated the midfield by himself when there was no Bruno, who usually does that. But yeah, Pogba came in. He looked energetic. He looked ready to play. He fought for the team and ultimately got the goal that put United into the next round of the Europa League. And last but not least, Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, they look solid today, but I wouldn't call them a title-winning center-back partnership. This center-back partnership has been playing well in the Europa League, but I like to see how they do in the league against quality opponents, such as like the top six or your Evertons and your West Hams. All in all, it was a decent game. United, they took it to Milan. Their passing in tight spaces was very pleasing on the eye. And I do think that in the end, United did deserve the 1-0 win to move on into the quarterfinals of the Europa League. But it'll be interesting to see how they continue on in this competition. Can they make the finals? Can they win it? We don't know. With Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I mean, anything is possible. We've seen the highs of highs and the lows of lows with him. So I'm really interested to see what they do in this competition. So before I actually wrap up the podcast, the UEFA Champions League and the UEFA Europa League draws were today for the quarterfinals of each competition. In the Champions League, the quarter match fixtures are Man City and Dortmund, Porto versus Chelsea, Bayern versus PSG, and Real Madrid versus Liverpool. And as for a winner of this competition, since we are down to the last 8, I do think it'll be Man City who win their first Champions League title ever. I think they have the squad depth and the quality to go far in this competition. So does Bayern Munich, but after seeing them win the Champions League last year, To do a repeat would be kind of difficult. We've only seen one team do it in the past couple of years, with that being Real Madrid. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how far City go, because they've only been as far as the quarterfinals. So with that being said, I do think Man City will edge out Dortmund. The Dortmund team is a really good team with flying Erling Haaland, Jadon Sancho when he gets back to fitness, Marco Reus, Reina, all these quality players. It will be a good matchup, but I do think City will win. As for Porto and Chelsea, I mean, everyone was hoping for the Porto draw, and Chelsea got it. I do think Porto will have like the belief and the confidence to really give Chelsea a run for their money. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Chelsea will get past this quarterfinal stage into the semis. I can't see Porto winning, but I do think they'll put up a good fight. Now we have the 2020 Champions League final rematch between Bayern and PSG. I want PSG to win. I'm a big fan of Mbappe and Neymar. Those are my two favorite players at the moment right now. But the strength of Bayern is just, it's unbearable. I mean, they're a high-flying team. Seems like nobody can stop them. So I do have them going into the semifinals. But I think it will be a close tie again. I think players like Lewandowski, Leon Goretzka, Leroy Sané, players like that, I think they will make the difference. Not to say the Mbappes, the Neymars, the Paredes, Verrattis aren't quality. I just think that Bayern, they already have, I believe, 2 or 3 Champions Leagues, something like that, yeah. And they're just the more experienced side. So I do think Bayern will edge out PSG in that quarterfinal matchup. The last quarterfinal matchup is between Real Madrid and Liverpool, the rematch of the 2018 final. For this match, I'm gonna go for Real Madrid. I say that because they obviously do have the experience in this tournament, but as do Liverpool. But I feel like the way Liverpool are right now, they're not getting their players back anytime soon. They've been losing bad in the league to teams that they really have no business losing to. They're really out of form. Jurgen Klopp is not the same Jurgen Klopp as we know. He's shown his vulnerability through press conferences by getting in stupid fights with journalists and whatnot. I feel like this club is just in shambles right now compared to Real Madrid, who are doing decently well in their league. They're in form. They beat Atalanta convincingly. So I do think the quality of Benzema and Ramos and Modric, even Vinicius, will show again in this quarterfinal matchup. But yeah, over the 2 legs, I think this is just Real Madrid's. Liverpool will have to try again next year when they get all their players back up to full fitness. All right, so now into the Europa League. I think the marquee matchup in this quarterfinal lineup of fixtures is Ajax versus Roma. I feel like these two teams balance each other out really well. I mean, formation-wise, with the quality of players. However, I do think Ajax will make it into the semifinals. I mean, they have a lot of quality players that are very consistent. David Neres, Tadic, Deli Blind. I feel like these players will get the job done on the night. I mean, Roma have good players as well, with Pedro, Mkhitaryan, Spinazzola. They have a good defender in Cristante. But seeing the way that they're going about in their respective league, I believe they're 6th or 7th. That just shows you the type of form that they're in. They have the highs of highs and lows of lows. Ajax are a more consistent team, so I do think that over the 2 legs, Ajax will get the job done. So between Granada and Man United, I think Man United will go through into the semifinals. I think Granada will put up a good fight. I watched a couple of their games this season, particularly the Copa del Rey clash between them and Barca. They were 2-0 up, but the lack of concentration allowed Barca to tie the score and move the game into extra time where they won it. Granada, they're a solid team for what it's worth, But I do think that over the two legs, Man United will be the superior team. So Arsenal will play Slavia. I'm going to predict that Arsenal will go through to the semifinals rather easily. I mean, they just have way more quality than Slavia. I mean, I couldn't name a Slavia player if you asked me to. Arsenal, they have the likes of their youth players, Bukayo Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, Kieran Tierney, and they also have the experienced players with Lacazette, Aubameyang, Xhaka on a good day, David Luiz at the back. So on paper, Arsenal they're just the better team on paper against Slavia, and I think they'll get the job done. And on to the last quarterfinal matchup. This will be between Dinamo Zagreb and Villarreal. I do think Villarreal will make it into the semifinals. Dinamo Zagreb showed a lot of heart getting into this position due to a lazy Tottenham, but I think Villarreal just won't let up. They definitely do have more quality. They have players like Baca, Gerard Moreno, Parejo, Etienne Capoue. So I think those players will turn up on over the two legs, and Dinamo Zagreb will just come crashing out of the tournament. All right, guys, with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the podcast. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This past week, there's been a lot of good football, so I'm really eager and excited to see what the quarterfinals of the Champions League and the Europa League have in store. Hopefully we get some good matches, maybe even see some crazy goals, who knows. But again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for taking your time out the day to watch this. We should be covering the next couple of Premier League matches for the next episode. So just stay tuned for that. And if you enjoyed the video, drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'm out. Peace.